Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel this morning. I'm very glad that you stopped by to visit with me today. It's Sampler September, a whole month dedicated to just stitching samplers. Count me in. And thanks to Senorita Stitches for starting this several years ago. I look forward to it every year. And just like every year prior to this, what I have done is sat down, took a look at the samplers I had to decide what I want, whether I want to work on a whip or I want to make a new start. So this year I'm going to make a new start, but I did have a few rules for myself. I wanted to keep it something small that I could finish relatively quickly, and I didn't want to carry it into next year. So those were only rules. So I brought a few of those samplers down. Some of them you may have seen in other places or seen here before, but I want to show you the ones I bypassed before getting to the one I want to stitch. So let's get started. So this is a newer one to me. Most of the ones I have here are kitted, some are not, but this is let all that, with love, all that you do be done with love. And this is by Lila's Studios. You can see it fits within my rules for myself, and I decided to bypass it. And then I picked up this one. I kitted this one up after market last year at a visit to a shop in the northern part of South Carolina, Panda's Crossing. Hold on just a second. And I did not have all the threads, but I would have subbed them for DMC. And this is Eliza's French Birds. I love this one. I've seen a few of them stitched up on Instagram. Several of you have picked this one up for a stitch. And I have the fabric, and like I said, not all the threads, just 3 of them. But I could have subbed them for DMC. This also fits within my size limits, but I decided to pass on it. It is a beautiful one. You never know, I may start it by the end of the year, the first of next year. But I bypassed this one too. And then I picked up one that I had ordered recently from Olivia B's shop, something Rookery, I can't remember. But this is it, and this is a mine, independent and free. I did kit it up on her shop, and so I have all the threads and the fabric here, and I think it is stitched with, kitted with NPI silks, and it's a little larger than I wanted to stitch. But I love this one, and I need to get started on this one too at some point. And I just decided to bypass it. I do love the long, slender pieces. So this one just kind of checks all the boxes for me as far as what I like in a sampler. Even though I never hardly stitch those long, slender ones, I always opt for large ones. This one is really on a list. This one may be either my birthday start, or it may be a start for my New Year start. I purchased this one. It's an older piece, and I purchased it earlier this year, again at Panda's Crossing, and it's an older design, and I've seen it, but I did not own it. So this is A Child's Commandments, and I have kitted it up with DMC. I have the fabric, and I love this one. I love it, but I want to be able to dedicate the time, not feel like I need to rush or push myself to get it finished, by the end of the year. And I know I'll do that, so I want to wait because I want to take my time. I want to savor the stitches. But that's this one. And this is a new one for this year, Crowns and Shields. And I ordered the fabric, and I have the floss for it as well to stitch this one. And I want to stitch it just here because this booklet by Blackbird, it gives you 2 options. You can stitch it in this colorway, or you can stitch it in this colorway. And I was able to get the called for fabric, which is sanguine, and I decided to go with this option. So there's that. Let me put these together because they weren't together, and I definitely don't want to get it separated from the fabric. This is another one that's really itching. I have not pulled the threads for it. And unfortunately, this is a cover. The cover has the actual reproduction sampler on it, so you don't get a good idea of the piece. But this was Catherine Armstrong, 1856. And I can't wait to dive into this one. So this one will be another that I start next year, if not before. This might be my birthday start. But I think this one is just absolutely stunning. If you have Instagram, go in and search this name and take a look at some of the pieces that others are stitching of this. It's gorgeous. This one is a relatively small one, and I think I could do it within the time frame. Hold on just a second. I'm not gonna take it out of the pattern. But I got this one because this young lady and I share the same maiden name. So this is Martha Scott, 1876. And that's why I purchased this one. It's a relatively small sampler and shouldn't take very long to stitch. But again, I want to savor the stitches on this one because it's special, because we share our maiden name. And I do have the fabric as well. Looks like I've got Country Mocha in here for this one, and I may change that up because I think it needs a different color. I don't know why I would have chosen Country Mocha, but that's what's in there. And then this is another one that's kitted up, and I'd love to get this one started. It's another Lila Studio. She makes such beautiful designs. I own several of her pieces. And this is Mary Taylor Stackney, 1828, a reproduction sampler. And it's all about those flowers. They're absolutely stunning. And they look kind of striped. And I love the reds in this one. And let me flip it over so you can actually see the reproduction piece. Beautiful piece, beautiful piece. For this one, I have a piece of a Foxtail Millet Legacy. So this is a different designer, a different fabric. It's called Vintage Millet. And so I'm not sure who the fabric designer is. This one I've probably had 2 or 3 years and haven't stitched it yet. And then I pulled out an Abbey Rose design. Again, it's kitted, and this one is kitted with a piece of Mellow Edinburgh, and it's coming a little yellow, more yellow than intended. But this is Anne Hughes. This one, for me, is all about this verse. And it's a common verse in samplers, but it's absolutely beautiful the way this one was designed by the child. Just a couple more. Isn't it awesome to have options when you go in your stash? And this is a Lucy Bean. This one was really popular the past couple of years. This is through Though He Seemeth Sleeping. The colors in this one is amazing. And this one, I purchased a piece of Wild Honey Legacy linen, which I think looks great. I don't know if that's what it calls for. I don't think it does. I don't see it there. It may be inside, but this is what I chose. And I think it looks really close to what the pattern picture. And a lot of times what is chosen for the supplies as far as fabrics, when you get the fabric and you hold it up to the pattern picture, they're not the same. And we all know that the pictures on the pattern can be deceiving. But sometimes I love the color of what's on the pattern. The fabric color is what I end up choosing from this than what is actually chosen by the designer. And that's probably looks like what I've done in this case. So again, this is Lucy Beam, Love in Stitches, Though He Seemeth Sleeping. Now, I've not pulled the threads for this one, so I only have the fabric there. And I don't remember what was in this one now. Oh, I discovered this one by going through my whips, and I thought it was a whip, and it wasn't. It was a kit. So this is the Biedermeier sampler, and I do have the threads and the fabric, so I have a piece of, oh my goodness, well, I'm not sure about this fabric, and I do, let me see if I have the threads. I do. And I purchased DMCs for this and have it ready to go on a floss ring. Oh, there it is. It's Legacy Linen. And those are just very few colors. Now it looks like that bright blue is down in here. And I saw this one as a model in the shop that I visited when I purchased it, and it just was amazing. So I brought that one home with me that day. And again, it's the 1840 Biedermeier sampler. It can be exciting to go through your stash and have all those options, and you rediscover things you have forgotten about, and that's kind of what I did today. And then I found this one as a whip. And I did a whip parade, and I actually, excuse me. I scheduled it to be run when I was on vacation, and I did something incorrectly. So it's gonna probably come out next weekend. So when I mention my whip video, it's been filmed. You guys just haven't seen it yet. But anyway, so I'm going through, looking through the samplers, and I find this piece, and it wasn't in with my whips. And then I remembered starting it last year. And so this one, I don't know if I have the fabric for this. Oh, hold on, let me put the name of this fabric back in here. But I made a small start on it and didn't stitch on it anymore, and I'm pretty sure I started it during Sampler September. But this is Lydia Burgess, 1851. And when I pull the colors, it's not that they're bad, it's just not what I expect. I should have expected it, but I didn't. You can see there it's outlined, framed in blue. And those are the colors. I know you can't see them very well because I've got a mismatch of both floss rings and, floss bobbins and floss drops. But it's stitched on a piece of bramble. And this was my small start. And you see this picture is brighter, and I don't know that I would want it brighter anyway, but it just was not what I expected, and for whatever reason, I just decided to put it right on back down. But as far as the sampler goes, I love this one. The blue is what drew me to it, not just the blue, but this rose vine here really drew me to this piece. And it is, again, Lydia Burgess, 1851, and it's by Victorian Rose Needlearts. So this one, because I'm gonna have to stick into my whip basket and maybe even give it some love. And I do have, I think I've got I've got a floss ring here, and I think this is one of the samplers I stitched 2 or 3 years ago that I have framed. So there's that one, and that one's gonna have to go in the whip pile. But what I settled on was, I have a piece of antique lace 40 count Seraphim fabrics. And it is for Beloved by Lottie Da. I love Lottie Da's pieces, everything about it. This one is 224 stitches by 109 stitches. I'm going to stitch it in the called for DMC. It offers both Week Style Works and DMC, but this year, in most cases, I have used just DMC because it's readily available and I have it right here. A couple of the local shops have closed to me. We've gotten 2 new ones in the past couple of years, but we've lost 2, and they're further away. Well, one of them's further away. I need to change that. Hold on just a second. Change my wording, but there's the fabric and the threads, and I will be starting this one today. So I'm looking forward to that new start. And I'm gonna make one more new start. I found another one I had forgotten about. And it is a sampler, but I'm going to get together with my local stitch group later today, and I'm gonna take this one because it's easy to focus on, and this is Round Red Sampler by Heart and Hand, and I thought I could work on this while I was there. So even if I get distracted, make it easy, just a quick, easy little stitch to work on. And then there's one other I think I'm gonna work on this month. And let me share it with you. It was a start, so when I went through my whip basket, I pulled out several things I wanna focus on in the coming months, and this is one of them. And I started this along with my friend Jen of Felicity Stitches. And it's a sassafras sampler. And it is AC Blue Quaker sampler. So not just a sampler, but a Quaker sampler. And then I already made a small start with Jen. We started them at the same time while we were together. So I don't even remember the fabric. So there's my small start. I don't know if that's the side or the top. Let's take a look. Actually, that is the top. And I know this is on a 40 count. And the remaining of the threads are here. Isn't that beautiful? The way they contrast up against that fabric. It's the stunning sampler. So let me show it to you again. And again, this is the actual sampler and not the reproduction. It's the original sampler. So the colors are a little more muted. Beautiful piece. So I'm gonna put this in with my stitch bag and work on this month. I let Jen know yesterday that it would make me think of her every time that when I pulled it out to work on it, because we started it together. So let me get that, and it needs an iron before I get started. Re-iron that fabric. So that actually gives me 3 that I can work on through the month, as well as I did make the start on the Squirrel Bristol sampler. So I have that one, and I have this small one. So that's Lydia, that's the Bluebird. I'm gonna make a new start on Beloved and probably start and finish this weekend. And then I have a couple of other things to share with you. So I do enjoy the Anne of Green Gables book series, and I shared that maybe last year while filming, shared my love of that. There was some fabric that was released, I believe it was last year, it may have been the year before. And I ordered the Anne of Green Gables book, so when my granddaughter Evie, I can share that love with her. And so friend Alice reached out, and she had a booklet that she wanted to pass to me, and it's a knit pattern book for Anne of Green Gables. So it's Patterns for Kindred Spirits by Joanna Johnson. Excuse me. Excuse me. And it's Green Gables knits. So I'm going to show you a few of the pieces you got in here. And I'm pretty much a novice with knitting. I am familiar with it. I have taken some classes and knitted a few things. But I'm going to enjoy working on these pieces. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. I know there's plenty of you out there that knit, but that is actually an apron. I can just picture Marilla wearing something like that. There's Marilla too. And then one other thing I wanted to bring up again, I brought it up in my last video, but for those that want to join in for the October 31st stitch along, this is Cottage Garden Samplers, October 31st. This is number 10 in the Time for All Seasons series. I'm gonna put the information down in the description box below. It's being I'm losing my train of thought. Excuse me just a second while I gather my thoughts together. So this is a stitch along with Kenzie of Mudpuppy Stitchery, and it's being hosted by Barefoot Needlearts in Surfside Beach, South Carolina. They have the patterns, they have the DMC thread. The pattern only calls for one Gentle Art sampler thread, or I'm sorry, 2, and it's Raven and 10 bucket. But there's not that many stitches that is actually stitched with the 10 bucket. It's mainly just part of the border, so you don't get a good grouping of stitches so that you can see that variation. So just keep that in mind. They do have the patterns, they do have the threads, and they're more than welcome to help you find whatever fabric you need, be it a linen, an Aida. They do have some hand dyes of their own as well as other carriers. If you just contact the shop, I'm going to leave the shop information, their Facebook page, their Instagram page, all of that down below. I don't think the last time when I posted it, I posted the phone number to the shop, but I'll do that as well. They have a website, which is listed in the description box, where you can go and there's a tab you click on specifically for this piece. It'll list everything you need that they have available. Like I said, if you want fabric, you may want to give them a call. They do have the fabrics listed on their website. But anyway, they're going to offer, I think it is a 20% off of the purchase of both chart and DMC floss. The promotional code on their website is October 31st. SAL. Like I said, when you go to their webpage, it's going to be listed at the top. You click on that link, it'll take you right to the pattern, the threads that you need. The code is good through the 31st of October of this year, so October 31st, 2023. They're happy to help, again, with any fabric suggestions as well, or any other items, if you just contact the shop. The website, there's the tab, which I've covered with you already, to make it easy for you to locate your chart and threads. And again, I'll list their Instagram, their Facebook, and their website in the description box below. And we're also going to have a hashtag on Instagram. Kenzie and I discussed we're just going to keep it the same as the promo code. So it's going to be October 31st, SAL. All of that will be listed below. And I hope several of you reached out on my last video to let me know that you'd be joining along with us. And I hope more of you do as well. We're going to start it on October 1st of this year. So that gives you at least another month to get everything together and give us a start. The pattern is actually, to tell you more about it, it is 100 by 130. So it's not a very big piece. I'm stitching mine on the called for, let's see, this is Ancient. So it has all that good modeling color there. So I'm gonna stitch mine on that piece. It has a total of, let's see, eight DMCs, and then again, 2 Gentle Art sampler threads. One's Raven, one's 10 bucket. Let me go ahead and show those to you just so you can see, in case you want to check your stash. And then it gives you the, it's letting you know if you're going to do 32 or 28 count linen, you may want to get 2 skeins of the Raven, and the Raven is what the bird is stitched in. So if you have any questions, you can drop them below. If you have any questions about fabric for the piece, just contact the shop. And again, I'll put their phone number in there this time so you can reach out to them. Anyway, Everyone enjoy Sampler September. I'll be back with updates for that. I look forward to seeing everyone's Instagram posts and Facebook posts of their whip progress and being inspired and finding new samplers to love. Until next week, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.